Welcome back, everyone, to the Audacious Money Witch channel, where we talk about investing and trading stocks, bonds, and crypto assets around the world. Hit me up if you need a juicy discount from a stock. Just kidding. What's not kidding is that real money is moving up. Gold has been making all-time new highs, outperforming the market this year, gaining almost 30%, while the S&P 500 is up 23% year to date. Silver is also outperforming the market, up over 30% year to date. There is another asset class that is given even more, shall we say, than silver and gold. That is the one and only Bitcoin. We call it digital gold. For your information, Bitcoin is up over 50% year to date. By now, you already know I'm a believer in Bitcoin.
We believe Bitcoin is an asset class in itself. It is an alternative to other commodities like gold.
As I hold shares of Coin and my Square Block stock, in this video I will talk about the insane upside my Coin stock is about to unleash, and also I will speak about why I'm not giving up on my Square Block stock just yet, even though it's still in the Wall Street doghouse. But we do have a nice breakout on Block. Where will these stocks heading as Bitcoin is finally has the opportunity of making an all-time new high and possibly reaching $100,000? Let's talk about it.
I think Bitcoin was a big invention. We can debate whether it was good or bad, but it was a pretty big deal, and it was systematically underestimated for at least the first 10, 11 years. You could trade it. It went up smoothly for 10, 11 years. It didn't get repriced all at once, because we're in a world where nothing big ever happens. And so we have no way of processing it when something pretty big happens. The internet was pretty big in 99. Bitcoin was moderately big.
Some of the major banks and their consideration around Bitcoin, they all love blockchain.
Explain blockchain for people who don't know what we're talking about.
Blockchain is a distributed ledger. And what that means is that it's basically a distributed database where the source of truth can be verified at any point around the network. There's no centralized control over it.
From the Bitcoin chart, we've seen that Bitcoin has been stuck in a consolidation pattern from the March highs. Back in March, it hit an approximate level of about $73,000. Then it dropped down to what I think was capitulation levels at about 49K on August 5th. Since then, we can see we are making higher lows, and Bitcoin has also break above its 200-day moving average, which is a bullish sign. However, the sentiment is still pretty bearish. Obviously, we have been through 7 months of chopping, which should wipe out all the hype around crypto. This Google trend chart can confirm that statement. And I would like to welcome Bairong Zhang.
How's it going, guys? How you guys doing? Hope you guys doing okay. Want to explain, the coin stock price made another low after Bitcoin's August 5th low. That is when I jump into the coin stock and loaded up a bunch of shares. And this is something that I didn't swing trade. I just hold on to it. How am I be able to do that? Well, I just buy it and forget about it. Forget I even have it. Just like Warren Buffett said, you buy a farm and you don't look at another quote. Just forget about it. For stocks like Nvidia, that's a perfect momentum stock for swing trading. But for coin stock, it moves so fast. If you don't have the right mindset, you'll get obliterated by the volatility that the stock, because it's highly correlated to the Bitcoin prices. Bitcoin is up more than 9% over the past week. The gains have made their way to crypto-pegged stocks. Digital asset exchange Coinbase climbed 7% on Wednesday, bringing its 3-day rally to 19%. The stock is at its highest since August. So what is my coin stock about to unleash? I think the move from coin is going to shock a lot of people, because all we know, Bitcoin ultimately followed the same direction as US stock market. And Coinstock is following the Bitcoin. We see that pretty clearly on this chart, where the S&P 500 is rising corresponding to the period where the Bitcoin is rising, and the opposite is true. When the S&P 500 is falling, so is Bitcoin. Not many people like to accept this, that Bitcoin is influenced by a lot of same forces of liquidity, risk-taking, and investor sentiment.
Investor optimism that influence the stock market. If investors are feeling good about financial markets and the economy, stocks generally go up, and Bitcoin will be going in the same direction. That's why in August, when the stock market made a very rapid panic on recessionary fears, dropping by a rapid 6% in 3 days, Bitcoin also ended up dropping by around 30% in a very short period of time. Now you can see the stock market has completely recovered from these losses, now making all-time highs after all-time highs. Both my Coin and Square block stock are not expensive in terms of their valuation and growth rates. Coin is growing at a triple digit while Block's forward PE is at 19. While Bitcoin is still trending about 10% below the all-time high where it was in March of 2024. Let's take a look at index called the RSP, which is an equal weighted of the S&P 500, removing the outsized contributions of these large cap tech stocks like Nvidia or Apple. When we look at the price structure of the RSP, it recently made a new all-time high, and it's staying consistently above all of its key moving averages that are all sloping upwards. This is without a doubt a very healthy price structure. And so if the RSP is likely to move higher based on this healthy technical structure, Bitcoin will be making a new all-time high as well.
But in order to be sure of that, we need to understand what is actually driving the RSP higher right now, and whether that we can continue and drive it higher. Inflation in the United States is continuing to slow down, and so as a result, financial markets have begun to price in lower interest rates. We see that by looking at the 2-year yield that moved from 5% at the beginning of June to now in the 3.9%, which comes following not only the inflation prints that pulled down the 2-year yield in mid-July to the end of September. If we also have a weak unemployment number that showing the labor market is cooling down significantly, but that's not what happened. What we got is a BS unemployment number for the election. The truth might come after the election. Well, as we already know, the government, they take their time when they do things. So I guess we'll just have to wait. At the same time, Federal Reserve has already started cutting interest rate as a result of this lower inflation. These type of shifts and expectations can have massive impact on Bitcoin throughout 2022. For example, the 2-year yield was rising aggressively. That was primarily driving factor behind the 80% decline that we saw on Bitcoin. As soon as the 2-year yield stopped rising aggressively, what happened to the Bitcoin? It bottomed and began to rise every time we saw a decline in the interest rate. It coincides with a pretty substantial move up on Bitcoin.
If the U.S. economy enters a recession, you could see interest rates fall and Bitcoin fall together. That's exactly what happened in 2020. But as of now, it doesn't look like financial markets are getting worried about a recession. Because looking at the long bond TLT, we can see it's struggling to go up again. It's coming down from its 200-day moving average and heading to this trend line again. We can't predict where the long-term interest rate is heading 100%. From this TLT chart, it shows the inflation story is not officially over. But this might just be because of the BS unemployment numbers. So it ultimately will depend on which president we get. If we get Trump, Bitcoin will absolutely go higher and reach 100K for sure. Woo-hoo! One reason for Bitcoin's 53% gain so far this year is a host of new spot Bitcoin ETFs that hit the market in January, welcoming in a host of new investors. Ether ETFs followed in July. So we are seeing more new investors coming to this space as they feel the inflation from the food prices from their grocery store and home prices are just not realistic anymore. They feel like we need a new system. This could be more speculative folks that have an open mind, betting for short-term Bitcoin prices to jump. But this is not how the game is played.
We were born into a system with numbers and papers.
And lines.
And waiting. You work hard, get good grades, go to college.
I want to go to college. I got good grades.
I overachieved.
That's right, she did.
Debt is good?
Debt is so good.
So much debt.
I can totally save up and buy a house and start a family.
I want a family.
Oh.
Starting a family means you need 2 or 3 jobs.
You can't afford to buy.
Oh.
You can't afford to rent.
Used cars cost as much as the new ones.
Oh.
Good debt is good.
I was ahead of my class.
Houses are too expensive. Get good grades, go to college.
The system, the numbers.
Rent is freaking insane.
Breaking news. Everything is terrible.
Does it have to be this way?
What if it was different?
It's always been that way.
We've got to build our way out of it. Yeah.
Put control back to the hands of the people.
A system with less paperwork.
No waiting.
Permissionless.
Just because you're born into a system
Doesn't mean you have to live with it.
A great investor knows the value of an asset. He buys it and sits on it. It could be 5 years till we see a move. 5 years ago, I was in uranium stocks. Yes, nuclear power that AWS is currently investing today. Yes, I was a bit early, but I knew it would be a winner. Sure enough, my uranium stocks like chemical 5x my money. But I had to sit there for 5 years for it and did nothing. Sometimes doing nothing is not as easy as you think, especially when you see your stocks going lower and you're experiencing pain mentally. However, in terms of my SQ block stock, even though it's still stuck in this from $50 to $80 price box, because it doesn't follow the Bitcoin price action at all. It's just doing its own thing. It has recently broke out of this wedge pattern and moving higher. But I will not hold my breath over it because patience is key when it comes to maintaining a Bitcoin thesis like Block stock. By looking at a stock like Block, what we know is the longer the stock goes sideways, the bigger the move we can expect to get. We have been waiting for over 3 years now in this box. When the price finally breaks out, it will be a happy day for us all. One last thing, we need to prepare and protect the downside, because if we do that mentally, let them crash the market or let them take it to the next level. Just let them. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.
What do you think about Bitcoin, Ted? Oh, he wants to have a Bitcoin party. Woohoo! Bye, everyone. Peace.